Some years ago, I was making my way to Raheny Dart Station in Dublin. It was one of those beautifully cold, wet, damp days that make you regret ever having been born, let alone getting up. And as I arrived at the platform, an already very crowded platform, there was a collective groan that went up, not because I had joined the crowd, but because the readout now said, delayed 20 minutes. And everybody was in that mode of being that isolates them. The hands were in the pockets, the face was hidden by scarves and hats. We were all cold, we were all grumpy, no one wanted to be there. And in the middle of the sleet shower that was happening, there was suddenly a gale of laughter across the platform. And it was that kind of laughter that erupts from the belly and the gut and threatens to overcome you so completely that there is nothing else you can do except laugh or join in. And we all began to shuffle around to see where was the source of this laughter so we could stop it. And there at the end of the platform, where the platform kind of gave way into a rubbishy enclave, were two small children, 5, maybe 6. I can't tell you to this day whether they were boys or girls because they were so muffled up against the cold, they were just beings. And one of them was walking up and down in front of a piece of corrugated metal that had come off the roof in the latest attack of vandalism down at the station. It was leaning up against the wall and it was wet and it was glistening. And as that little being moved up and down, his reflection was growing taller and shorter, taller and shorter. And the other little being thought this was the funniest thing they had ever seen. The cold was forgotten, the wet was forgotten. These two beings had found meaning in what the rest of us would have regarded as rubbish or vandalism, in what the rest of us would have regarded as a moment of just isolation on a dark platform. And slowly, a ripple of laughter moved. And slowly people began to nudge each other and say, do you see what's happening? And slowly a group of individuals became, in a moment, a community. Because a community are people who are united in epiphany. United in the recognition that the circumstances they are in bestows meaning. Because that's what an epiphany is. A moment when meaning that is already there, but to which we are not tuned in, becomes apparent. In that moment, there was a ripple of epiphany. And so when the dart finally came in, with people smashed up against the glasses, because they'd been collecting all of the other crowds at the various stations, the doors opened and people actually stood back to allow other people in. Our two little beings got a place of honor as their mother-parent figure brought them into the dart. I usually get space on the dart. You look like this, you get space on a dart. But that particular day, we were so smushed up inside, there were two girls from Finglas who were either side of me, and we were almost cheek to cheek. I remember this distinctly because it's very rare that I'm cheek to cheek with a young lady. And one lady said to the other, do you know, in her best Dublin accent, you'll get pregnant on this and you wouldn't know who the da was. And then she looked at me and said, I know it won't be you. And that was another kind of epiphany. So epiphanies bestow meaning, and they allow us to tune into the reality that this wonderful universe that erupts so often in cacophonous chaos actually has meaning. As a chaplain in UCC, one of the things that distresses me most is when young people, in the very fullness of their health and life, appear in front of me and say, I have purpose, I'm here doing some kind of a course, but I have no meaning, and I have no idea where meaning can come from. And they come to the likes of me because in some way, we're supposed to know. So one of the gifts I want to give you here today is the gift of a little element of monastic wisdom, because in case you haven't noticed, I'm a monk. And this is monastic wisdom that is common to all of the monastic traditions: Christian, Buddhist, Hindu, Muslim, all of them together. It comes from a choice to try and live life deeply, to activate the ability that is present in every single one of us to tune in to epiphany. And what it says is this: if you want to tune into meaning, purpose doesn't come first. Purpose comes after we discover meaning. Meaning bestows purpose. And so often we choose the job, or we choose the relationship, or we choose where we're going to live, or we choose an activity and we think this will give us meaning. And 5 minutes later, we're still giving out, and we're still grumbling, and we're still experiencing all of the same difficulties we've always experienced. And we're saying, why wasn't that different? Why wasn't that the meaning, the epiphany, the aha moment I was looking for? And normally epiphanies only happen spontaneously for us, whether it's on a dark platform or in a sacred space or in the midst of a deep moment where someone reveals themselves fully to us. So the gift of wisdom is this: if you would like to have epiphanies, then you must first experience outer silence, the ability to switch off a world that longs to distract us into the ephemeral, and allowing that silence to descend within. Be still long enough to recognize that you are a radio that is intended to pick up meaning, and all of those stations are playing. All you have to do is tune yourself in. Choose meaning. Choose to truly be present to everyone you meet. Choose to be open to a world that wants to bestow meaning. And then the conclusion of the process of epiphany will happen. And that's another word that we're kind of famous for using: apocalypse. Because apocalypse is the pulling back of the curtain that allows the light to shine through. That's what that word actually means: to draw open the curtains and allow the sunrise to be seen. I wish you a life of meaning. I wish you enough stillness to have epiphanies. And I wish you an apocalypse once a day. Thank you very much.